Welcome to Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, Florida. Tonight, the Pirates take on the Florida Marlins. Game 2 of a 3-game set. The Pirates' 9-game road swing continues. Tough loss for the Bucks last night. They ran into a very tough pitcher in right-hander Kevin Brown. In fact, they were 5 hit by Kevin Brown, a 4-0 shutout for the right-hander. And Steve Blass, that was about as good a performance as we have seen all year.
That's exactly right. That's the most dominant stuff I certainly have seen. But you might have a little different perspective down in the field. And I took a little informal poll with some of the guys that were in the starting lineup against Kevin Brown last night. Jason Kendall said, yes, that was the best stuff he had seen. Dave Clark said, yes, that was the best stuff he had seen because he was thrown a sinker by Kevin Brown that he didn't see. So evidence there. Jeff King said, yeah, it's the best stuff he saw, but no, he didn't feel like he was at his best either. So typical Jeff King. The problem with Jeff King, or for Jeff King, is he says that Kevin Brown is really a right-handed Al Leiter. So we've got that to look forward to. But accolades all the way around. Charlie Hayes saying that there aren't that many people that can throw a fastball throughout a ball game and really rely on one pitch. So the Pirates were just as impressed, and that's one of those games, hey, just tip your cap to a dominant pitcher on a given night and just move along.
As you say, Steve, it does not get any easier because Al Leiter, earlier this year, he no-hit the Colorado Rockies. The left-hander goes against another left-hander. 2 8-game winners, Denny Nagel for the Bucks, Al Leiter for the Marlins, and the starting lineups in this game just ahead on Prime. Pirates baseball on Prime Sports is brought to you by Budweiser, official sponsor of the 1996 U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you. By Dodge. See your friendly Dodge dealer near you. By Midas, auto systems experts. What can we do for you today? By Sunoco, who reminds all Pirates fans to stop into Sunoco and see the changes they're making for you. By Ladbroke, racing's only half the fun. And by Giant Eagle, it takes a giant to make life simple. Joe Robbie Stadium, Miami, Florida, the Bucks and the Florida Marlins. Well, we didn't have any rain like we had last night, Steve Blass. We had about 2 hours of torrential downpours here at Joe Robbie Stadium, but there's the threat of rain just about every day here. Yep. Billy the Marlin and the umpiring crew, though, ready to play baseball. Yeah, late afternoon weather forecast in South Florida is chance of rain just about all summer long. And, you know, the thing is, last night, they know what kind of drainage they have at this ballpark, and it poured for that 2-hour period you talked about, yet they knew that once it stopped, they were going to be able to get it in. So a credit to the ground crew and the drainage system. By the way, Greg, just before we get into this ball game, and we want to talk about that certainly, I've been catching a lot of flack about my eating habits, but I did leave 4 tickets tonight. Oh, you did? For baseball fans, some of my close personal friends, and I think we might have a shot of them. Steve Blass leaving 4 tickets? Yep, there they are. Those are the tickets I left. My very good friends. You do take care of your friends. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it should be. So the chefs are the chefs are being honored, and I salute them, and I also give them a personal tip of the cap. They do great work, believe me. All right, let's take a look at the starting lineups. First, the batting order for the Pirates. Carlos Garcia has been outstanding as the Bucco leadoff hitter much of this season. John Wehner will get the start in left field. He will spell Al Martin. In fact, Wehner, his lone career Major League homer, came against Al Leiter in the Buccos' first series of 1996 here at Joe Robbie. Jeff King hits third. Then it's Orlando Merced, the cleanup hitter. Charlie Hayes in the 5th spot at third base. Jay Bell is the shortstop. Mike Kingery will play center field and bat 7th. Jason Kendall has a 5-game hitting streak. Rookie catcher bats 8th, and then Denny Nagel on the mound against Al Leiter. And Leiter will be backed up defensively in this fashion. Jeff Conine, the left fielder, by the way, he has been nominated as the Florida Marlins representative for the Roberto Clemente Award. There's a nominee from each team. He represents the Marlins. There will be a final decision made on who the eventual winner is, but it is Jeff Conine representing the Marlins. Devon White, the center fielder, Gary Sheffield in right. Then it's Terry Pendleton, Edgar Renteria is the shortstop, Kilvio Veras at second, Greg Colburn, the first baseman, and it is Charles Johnson behind the plate for Al Leiter. And you take a look at his 8-6 record, Greg, and 5 of those losses came in games where the Marlins scored 1 run or less, including the last 2 starts for Al. He's lost them both, and the Marlins were shut out 8-0 and 1-0 in his last 2 starts. So he has pitched extremely well. You get an idea by that 2.57 ERA and a no-hitter on May 11th against the Colorado Rockies, and that was an 11-0 program. Al Leiter is a quality pitcher, so you go back-to-back with Kevin Brown and Al Leiter. It is a pretty good test for any ball club that works against the Marlins.
And it's really interesting to see what Leiter and Brown have done, their numbers. And of course, you had John Burkett, another quality major league starting pitcher. Those are 3 top-notch starting pitchers. And the Marlins just kind of wondering why they're only 4 games under 500, but a lot of season left, as Renee Latchman has told the fans and members of the media. Let's not get impatient. Let's stay the course. And you heard Dave Dombrowski telling pretty much the same thing to Steve Blass as the strike is called to Carlos Garcia. Terry Tata is the home plate umpire. Angel Hernandez at first. Ed Rapuano, the second base umpire, and Jerry Davis at third. Garcia, 319 average, and a liner right at Terry Pendleton. 1 out.
Very simple. The Marlins have not scored as much as they have wanted to, as much as they thought they would. They hope to have a better second half offensively. By the way, for Al Leiter, he has worked 14 innings against the Bucs. He's 2-0, so that's the bottom line. But in the 14 innings, he has walked 11. So you might want to think about forcing him to throw strikes if he gets in one of those periods where he's struggling finding the strike zone.
John Wehner takes the pitch high. Wehner, a 222 average, a homer, and 4 runs batted in. Again, starting in left field. This will be his 3rd start in left field in 1996. 1-0 is up and in, and Steve mentioned those walks. The April 25th start, you could tell by Jim Leyland's tone when he talked about the game that night. The Pirates lost 4-1 to Leiter, that he was not happy at all, that the Bucs were able to work 7 walks in less than 8 innings against Al Leiter and could not score a run against him.
Game the Marlins won 4-1.
And he walks John Wehner. But it's not just the Pirates that are drawing walks against Leiter. That's the 53rd walk he's allowed in less than 99 innings of work, and he has the 4th lowest earned run average in the National League.
So what that tells you, he's got great stuff. If he's doing what he's doing, in spite of the walks, he's got some good stuff when he gets the ball over the strike zone, because a combination of those walks and a lot of base hits would be a killer. But take a look at his numbers. 98 innings, 66 base hits. That is strong. When he gets it in the strike zone, he's tough to deal with.
The opponents are batting just 193 against Al Leiter this year. That is the 2nd lowest average in the National League. John Smoltz, the best in that department. The pitch inside. It's Jeff King hitting 263, 16 home runs, and he's driven in 52.
If you're a pitcher that gives up very few walks or very few hits, you've got a chance. If you give up walks and hits, you don't have a chance.
Strike call. King, like several Bucs, 0 for 4 last night.
Most impressed with Kevin Brown. They were impressed to a man. But Jeff King saying, and making a good point, hey, Kevin Brown is just pretty much a right-handed Al Leiter.
Drive to left, but foul.
Told you what Dave Clark said about Kevin Brown. He had a sinker thrown at him that he did not see. Jason Kendall impressed. Charlie Hayes saying there are very few pitchers in the major leagues that can throw an entire ball game with pretty much one pitch, the fastball. And there's Kevin Brown. Al Martin said, yep, maybe the best stuff, but he also qualified it, saying Ishmael Valdez impressed him just about as much. And Milt May, the batting coach, very much impressed with the stuff of Kevin Brown.
The ball up and in to King. Brown improved his record to 6-5, lowered his major league leading earned run average to 1.88 with the 5-hit shutout. Jeff King goes down.
That's the 90th strikeout in 99 innings for Al Leiter.
almost the same neighborhood that Kevin Brown struck out Jeff King in the first inning last night, only Kevin Brown was throwing a fastball that rode in, this time kind of a cut fastball or a slider coming from the left-hander up and in. So maybe Al Leiter, looking at how Jeff reacted to that pitch in that location last night, and decided to take a chance up there and having it work.
Orlando Merced was 1 for 4 last night. He's hitting .288. He has 11 homers, 30 runs batted in, and it's up and in. Leiter not afraid to work in that regard. He's hit 5 batters this year. Merced fooled.
Al Leiter is ranked among the strikeout leaders in the National League. He is behind John Smoltz. Most people are behind John Smoltz in just about every category, with John on that 14-game winning streak.
Leiter back. Greg Colbrin holding him aboard.
How about Smoltz with 14 wins and probably will have, what, 2 or 3 more starts before the All-Star break?
14 wins in a row. There goes the runner. Didn't get a real good jump off the bag, and he is out. John Wehner caught stealing. Charles Johnson has thrown out over 56% of the runners trying to steal. That's the best rate in the National League.
And he does it throwing over the back of Merced. The Pirates, nothing doing in the top of the first. We'll go to the bottom of the first, no score.
Bottom of the first inning, John Wehner caught stealing, and they cleaned things up for Al Leiter. Now Denny Nagel goes to work against this Marlins batting order. Devon White in center. Kilvio Veras returned from a stint on the disabled list last night. He bats second. Greg Colbrin, a 19-game hitting streak, the first baseman. Gary Sheffield, the ever-dangerous right fielder, in the cleanup spot with Conine in left. Terry Pendleton, the third baseman. Charles Johnson hits seventh. Then it's Edgar Renteria and Al Leiter.
Wehner, Kingery, and Merced in the Pirate outfield. Hayes, Bell, Garcia, King around the infield. Jason Kendall in back of home plate for Denny Nagel.
Ball 1 to Devon White.
Denny Nagel was a victim of the game that Kevin Brown won in Pittsburgh last weekend.
Pop up, shallow right. Merced there. Nagel 8-3, a 3.34 earned run average, and remarkably similar numbers to around this time last year for Denny Nagel when he went to the All-Star game. Nagel was 9-4 with a 3.34 ERA in the first half of last season.
Well, the thing you'd like to do as a starting pitcher in this kind of scenario, get yourself into double figures. That will usually get the attention of the manager who does the selecting. In this case, Bobby Cox.
Kilvio Veras, the switch hitting second baseman, led the National League in stolen bases last year, but was on the disabled list with a hamstring injury. He takes ball 1, and he'll look at a number of pitches. There's ball 2. 235 average, couple of homers, 7 runs batted in. Was 0 for 3, but a walk in the first inning last night.
Well, he may look at a lot of pitches, but chances are Denny Nagel is going to throw him a lot of strikes.
He's just thrown 2 straight strikes to Veras. 27 years old, Denny Nagel. 8th career start against the Marlins.
1-1 this year, 2-3 in his career against Florida.
Rolls up first base way, picked up by Jeff King. Another look at Nagel's career numbers against the Fish.
I think I've almost corrected myself in terms of saying the Miami Marlins. I'm old enough to remember when the Miami Marlins were a team.
Charlie Hayes throws out Kilvio Veras, 5-3. The Miami Marlins, they were a minor league affiliate.
Well, they were for a while.
Independent club.
They were an independent team.
Did they turn into the Miami Miracle, or was that a different club too? Because the Miracle was around for a while too. Look at the Marlins bench and the dugout. 2 outs. Here's Greg Colbrin, the 19-game hitting streak. That is the best so far in the National League. Marlins first baseman has his average up to .301, 6 homers, 31 runs batted in. Former Montreal Expo came up through their organization as a catcher. Dave Dombrowski, who was Steve Blass's pregame guest, brought over a handful of former Expos, including this guy, and switched him to first after Orestes Destrada spent parts of a couple seasons with the Marlins. Bouncer to third, Charlie Hayes on to first. Nagel enjoys a 1-2-3 inning. After one, 0-0 on Prime Sports. Second inning. Marshall Mosta Sr. of Pittsburgh will be our Giant Eagle home run hitters contestant. Orlando Merced leads things off against Al Leiter. And he was at the plate when John Wehner was caught stealing. That play went 2-6. Charles Johnson to Edgar Renteria, the shortstop. Fouling this one off, Pendleton with room. 1 out.
So far as advertised, 7 up, 7 down. Nagel and Leiter, quality left-handers. By the way, while we have a minute, we got a note up here. It says, hello to the guys in Smitty's Bar in Turtle Creek. I don't know where this note came from. I don't know if there are guys here from Smitty's Bar, but hey, always want to say hello to the guys.
Oh, those are the guys that are saying hello to.
And give our best to Arno Slick,
yeah,
from Turtle Creek, if you happen to see him.
And he'll be in there tonight, we understand. Strike to Charlie Hayes, who's hitting .256. 9 homers, 38 runs batted in. All inside. The Pirates are 33-39 after the loss last night. They're still playing 2 games over 500 on the road at 18-16, and they begin play 3.5 back of the Astros in the National League Central Division. Heard some guys talking over the past 24 hours around the clubhouse, Steve, though, and a couple of guys made some sense that it's great to be within striking distance of first place at 3.5 games, but they're not paying a whole heck of a lot to the standings and the scoreboard as Charlie Hayes looks at a called third strike in disagreement with the home plate umpire Terry Tata. They said, you know, if we don't hit that 500 mark, that's not going to do us much good. We got to be hitting that 500 mark soon.
Call third strike to Charlie Hayes. By the way, speaking of Turtle Creek, you know your oldies history. Do you know what group was originally from Turtle Creek? Oldies group?
Not the Vogues.
Yeah.
Really?
Vogues. 5 O'Clock World, among others.
Outside the J Bell. Well, you're right on, Steve.
You're right on. I put you in the chair.
You did.
You got the answer.
You got me. Up and in. Bell hitting .237, 5 home runs. He's driven in 32.
Hope everything that went all right with the Grand Funk Railroad concert Thursday night. I would like to see that one.
Speaking of the Turtles, are supposed to be going to Three River Stadium this week, aren't they? The Turtles and some others. Giant Eagle Summer Spectacular.
Yep. Big doings tonight.
It's tonight.
I think it is.
Well, we'll
get a report.
We need a report.
Right now, the report on Al Leiter is that he gets the call called strike on the appeal.
2-2. Al Leiter, 30 years of age. And he punches out Jay Bell. He's looking strong. Leiter. 1, 2, 3 go the Bucks. Third K for the left-hander.
6 up, 6 down. No score at the end of 1.5 right here on USDA-approved Prime.
Gary Sheffield will lead off the bottom of the second inning at Joe Robbie Stadium. 0-0 game. Denny Nagel delivers the strike. Sheffield, a .296 hitter, was 1 for 4, a 2-run double off the scoreboard in the first inning off Danny Darwin last night. Grounder left side and under the glove of Charlie Hayes. Sheffield is aboard.
Charlie Hayes moving away from the line. On the move, could not get the glove down far enough, and Gary Sheffield has a leadoff single. See how how far he wraps that bat around. And his bat speed is so good he can catch up. Almost got it down in time. It is amazing to watch Sheffield come all the way back around where he cocks the bat almost back forward, but is so fast he can get it back to that hitting zone quickly enough.
Ball 1 to Conine. Conine was 1 for 4 last night.
Again, just want to make sure we got the clarification on that. Every Major League Ball club has on its team a member who is designated for the Roberto Clemente Award, and that's for achievement on and off the field. And then there is an eventual winner out of all the Major League teams. Conine is the Marlins representative. He is the man who is up for the Roberto Clemente Award representing the Marlins, and as such he'll be a finalist. And that all takes place during the World Series when they name the eventual Roberto Clemente Award winner.
Pirates representative is Bucko first baseman Jeff King.
That was announced that Conine is their candidate.
And Denny Nagel walks Conine, putting runners at first and second. Yeah, they did give Sheffield a base hit, but you can understand if Nagel probably feels like there should be one out, even though he did walk Conine. And Terry Pendleton to the plate. First of all, a trip to the hill from Jason Kendall.
Pendleton back in the lineup once again. He took an awkward slide into second base last night when it looked like he caught a spike, and it just kind of catapulted him over in a somersault. A moment of concern, but Terry continued on, finished the ball game.
Strike to Pendleton. Batting from the right side against Denny Nagel. Good career numbers. Sheffield, the runner at second, Conine at first. Runners break, and it's fouled out of play. Rene Lachman and the runners going as Pendleton fouls it out of play.
Well, not entirely a surprising move, because Terry Pendleton, somewhat of a double play candidate these days if he hits the ball on the ground, especially as a right-handed batter.
Lachman checking his lineup card. Marlins 34 wins, 38 losses. They're playing much better here at Joe Robbie than they are on the road. They're 21-14 here in their home ballpark.
But it was a real problem for them scoring runs early in the year, especially for these two starters, Kevin Brown and Al Leiter. Told you that Leiter has lost 6 games, and 5 of them have been games that the Marlins have scored 1 or less runs for the entire ball game. He's been on the bad end of some shutouts.
Right field, sinking liner. Oh, a nice play by Merced. He makes the catch. You know, Orlando Merced made a sliding catch last night, and he also ended up getting an out, deking a base runner, Charles Johnson, on a base hit in the 7th inning.
Line drive that Orlando makes the commitment to come in and try to make the catch. Does not hold back. Makes it on the run. The ball hit well enough to hang up just long enough for O to take it knee high. It may look like a fairly routine catch at that point, but the decision has to be made when he sees the ball leave the bat. He's got to decide whether he's going to back off or he's going to make a commitment to come in and try to make the catch. Obviously, the right decision was made.
1 out, first and second. Here's Charles Johnson, who takes a ball. Johnson led off the 7th inning last night against John Lieber with a base hit, and then it was Edgar Renteria who sent a fly ball shallow into right field, and Orlando Merced fooled Johnson into thinking he was going to make the catch. He made it on the short hop and was able to throw to second to force Johnson at second base. Almost picked off. Instead, it's into center field. Sheffield will go to third. An error on the throw from Denny Nagel.
There's the turn, almost throwing across his body, and kind of caught a sailor that was difficult for Carlos Garcia. He's got the runner coming back at him, so he can't really commit and go across and save that throw. Looked like Denny might have thrown before he got completely turned around.
Runner stays at first base. Conine, so Nagle really needs a double play ball now from Charles Johnson. This is out of play. One ball and one strike. A lot of people around baseball think that Charles Johnson, though he is already considered one of the finest defensive catchers, just his second year, and he was a Gold Glove winner in his rookie season last year. But you look how many games this guy is playing. You're talking around the league that this guy is already getting really worn out. 1-2. Struggling offensively as he comes in with a .222 average. Two for 4 in last night's game was Charles Johnson. Left side. Nice play. Can they get 2-1? And yes, they do. Charlie Hayes, kind of a snow cone at third base, able to hang on, and then the relay from Carlos Garcia.
Nice play by Charlie to flag it down. He gets to this one. He didn't get to one earlier. And then the good feed to Carlos, and the strong arm throwing flat-footed of Carlos Garcia shuts the Marlins down in the bottom of the second. We'll go to the third. No score on Prime.
Look who's back in the bullpen.
Now hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. There's a disclaimer here.
Just for a night. Rick White, tip of the cap.
Is visiting.
Rick White had major reconstructive surgery on that right elbow. Tommy John type surgery in spring training. He is over from Bradenton, Florida.
Rehabbing over there. And he's got a severe scar.
Doesn't he, though?
On the inside of that right elbow. Starts below the elbow, up through the elbow, and toward the bicep. So he is trying to work his way back, as Steve Cook has. Steve Cook made the return last night. We had a chance to visit with him on the radio side. He is a very happy young man to be back with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Active Steve Cook.
One scoreless inning last night after almost 2 years off. And it was really great to see him back on the mound. He got some high marks from bullpen coach Spin Williams, pitching coach Ray Miller. This is fouled out of play. But again, Rick White is rehabbing, and White said he threw about 73 pitches today. That's kind of the program, about every other day, and probably won't be pitching in game competition maybe for a couple more weeks. So he's on schedule. He originally said he'd like to be back by August, but Pirates really aren't going to rush him at all. That's major surgery. Nice base hit. Nice piece of hitting for Kingery. He just slaps it past the shortstop, Renteria. A leadoff single.
He hit that ball almost where he was. There it is. It's the serve to left. Oh, we're in the middle of the tournament at Wimbledon now. I think Wimbledon's going on. Little backhand serve over the net.
Colburn will hold Kingery aboard. Jason Kendall was hit by a pitch in last night's game and reached on an infield single in the 6th inning against Kevin Brown to break up a no-hit bid. Kendall's average at .294. 25 runs batted in for Kendall. You look at those numbers compared to even a few other guys in the starting lineup who are out there every day. That compares very favorably. Looking down at Gene Lamont. Two balls, no strikes to Kendall. Al Leiter on the hill for the Marlins with a runner at first, and there goes Kingery. Swung on and missed. Charles Johnson's throw is high, but a quick tag from the second baseman, Kilby Overas. Caught stealing. 2-4.
Well, you might say, why are they running when Johnson throws the ball so well? Well, Leiter throws it better, so you don't figure to put too many big innings together, so you send some people. The Bucks 0 for 2 as the tag is applied. They threw out John Wader. Now they threw out Mike Kingery. So you try to press a little bit because of the ability of the starting pitcher, number 25, Al Leiter. Leiter with the no-hitters we mentioned in May against the Colorado Rockies. I'm looking at the Marlins, the young franchise, low-hit games. It seems like they pick on the Colorado Rockies. The no-hitter was against Colorado by Leiter, and a couple of one-hitters by Pat Rapp against the Rockies. Pitch up and in and misses. One of them occurred last year when the Rockies were beaten 17-0 on a one-hitter by Pat Rapp. I mean, that's overkill, isn't it? I mean, you want to package those and save some of them
against that club.
Yeah.
Jason Kendall fights it off into left field. You can hear him grunt as he singles into left. A one-out single, and that gives him a 6-game hitting streak. We pointed this out before. The other thing that Kendall has done is it allows Jim Leyland to kind of continue with, in this case now, Nagel will advance the runner. But a lot of times, Kendall has kept an inning going so that the pitcher at least hits in one inning. And even when the pitcher, if the pitcher gets out to end an inning, that puts your top of the order, Carlos Garcia, to lead off the next frame. So Kendall at least keeps things going, and in this case allows Nagel to try to bunt the runner to second, and that's what he does. Sacrifice 1-4, Kendall into scoring position.
Oh, Denny adds to his total. 7 times he's moved a runner over.
Doing the things, the little things, to help you win games. See if Garcia can get a big base hit here off of Leiter. The line right at Terry Pendleton, the first batter of the game. Back at last night's shutout, second time the Bucks were blanked this year. Rockies did it earlier this season. Kevin Ritz shut out the Pirates the only other time. And then in the Pirates' second game of the doubleheader Wednesday at Three Rivers against the Mets, didn't score in the last, what, 4 innings? 5 innings? So 16 straight scoreless innings for the Pirates.
Danny Darwin pitched the wrong night to pitch.
Yeah. Observing his former teammate. They were together last year in Toronto, Leiter and Danny Darwin. That's out of play.
Danny gave up a couple runs in the bottom of the first inning, and that was pretty much all that Kevin Brown needed. Didn't pitch all that badly. Shut them down the rest of his time out on the mound. Went 5, gave up 2 runs. But Pirates were not going to score last night.
Right field, and if this gets down, it's extra bases. It's a foul ball. Very close, giving the Bucks a 1-0 lead. Garcia going the other way. Now Johnson chats with Al Leiter.
Probably discussing a pitch selection right now.
Second round pick of the New York Yankees in 1984, Al Leiter, and then in '89 he was dealt to Toronto for Jesse Barfield. This past off season, signed a 3-year deal, about $8.5 million by the Florida Marlins. His older brother Mark, of course, pitches for the Giants. There's a roller right side. Up with it, Colbrin takes it himself. So the Bucks strand a runner. We played 2.5. 0-0 on Prime Sports. Pirates baseball on Prime Sports is brought to you by your local Chrysler Plymouth dealers, home of the minivan store. By the Pennsylvania Lottery. Proceeds benefit older Pennsylvanians. By your friends at Toyota. For quality and value that's simply the best. See your Toyota dealer today. And by Sears Brand Central Appliances and Electronics. The brands you want at the store you trust. Sears Brand Central. Young Marlin fan watching Al Leiter and Denny Nagel battle. Bottom of the third inning. And number 8 hitter Edgar Renteria, the shortstop, leads off against Nagel. Aiming for his 9th win of the year. A couple of 8-game winners. Steve mentioned John Smoltz winning 14 straight. He is the leader in the National League in victories, but a handful of guys with 8 wins. Hideo Nomo of the Dodgers, Shane Reynolds of the Astros, Kevin Ritz of the Rockies, and Joey Hamilton of the Padres joining Leiter and Nagel.
But still, 14 down to 8. He's got a pretty sizable
How about
lead.
that?
Good off-speed pitch by Denny Nagel. He'll show you the curveball. He'll show you the changeup. A little cut fastball every once in a while in on the hands of right-hand batters. Like that. And he loves to work around various pitches to set that changeup up. Show you a fastball many times to see if you can get geared on that particular speed and then pull a string on you.
Mike Kingery retires Renteria.
This is it, Dennis. Are you ready down there? This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's the disclaimer, and it's official.
Look at this. On camera, too.
That? Right.
There he is.
It's
there
right
it is.
there. It's in black and white. This is official stuff.
Man, that was good stuff. Ball 1 to Leiter. 0-32 hitter.
He got a base hit his first at bat as a Marlin, and then it's been somewhat of a struggle since then.
Base hit.
Which would have had to been against the Pirates.
Yeah. Against John Eriks. Pirates played the Marlins the first 3 games of this 1996 season. They won the first 2. Beat Kevin Brown opening night here at Joe Robbie. The next night beat Alejandro Pena on Carlos Garcia's 3-run homer in the top of the 9th inning. John Burkett had started that game for Florida, and then Al Leiter allowed just 1 run in 7 innings of work to salvage one of those 3 games against Pittsburgh. And strike 3 call.
It has been somewhat of a struggle for Al because that is his 32nd at bat. That is the 23rd time he has struck out.
Devon White flied to right field in the first inning. White against Nagel last Sunday at Three River Stadium hit the 13th home run into the upper deck in the history of Three River Stadium.
They're talking about a possibility of a ballpark location in Pittsburgh where home runs might land in the river and wind up in New Orleans. I mean, that is a pretty good shot.
It's a poke. Yep. Tried to hold, but he goes. So quickly Nagel ahead of Devon White, 0-2.
The old baseball story of a guy hitting a home run that lands in a boxcar and winds up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Pretty long shot, too. Way inside they're going to set up, and that's where it goes. What that'll do is get you a little pitching room outside with perhaps something off speed. Let's see where Jason Kendall sets up here. Back away. Yep.
Good call.
Up and in with a fastball, low and away with something off speed. That's the kind of sequence that is difficult for batters to follow.
Concentration there. Nagel, he'll kind of been his routine. He'll look down briefly at the mound and then gather his thoughts. Right field, base hit. Hustling over there, Merced. Devon White with great speed. He'll head to second, and he'll be there standing with a double. Well, Dave Dombrowski, this past off season, if you take a look at the replay here,
kind of swinging inside out, pushing the ball to right field. Simple as that. He gets a 2-base hit.
Dave Dombrowski, the general manager of these Marlins, and Steve Blass's pregame guest. The Marlins have made improvements on their record each year since starting as a franchise in 1993. There's Dombrowski, who came down from the Montreal Expos. But each of the first 3 years of this franchise, they've made improvements. But this is a critical year. Broken bat, roller to third, on to first. Side retired, and one splinter of that bat just now landing in front of the Marlins dugout. Wow. We played 3, nothing on Prime. Go to the 4th, nothing. Good pitching duel between a couple of 8-game winners, a couple of left-handers, Leiter and Nagel. John Wehner walked and was caught stealing in the first inning. He pops this one up. Infield, Terry Pendleton waving the arm, says he has it, and he finally does. Cheryl Birdie of Pittsburgh is our Giant Eagle home run hitters contestant as Jeff King steps to the plate. Just want to finish that thought up about Dombrowski and the Marlins in this franchise making improvements each year. He has gone about it the right way. Of course, they have set up a fine minor league system, and you're starting to see some of those players come up, including this young 20-year-old Colombian, the shortstop Edgar Renteria. And they have more to come. Charles Johnson, of course, a Miami product. But he also had some money to spend. Wayne Huizinga, the owner of this team, and Dombrowski spent it wisely. A lot of the cash on Leiter, and the other on the Gold Glove center fielder, Devon White. 6 times a Gold Glove winner. And a spark at the top of the lineup. So they are strong up the middle with Charles Johnson. There's Devon White in center.
Good point. Dombrowski saying that one of the real strengths of the organization is their middle infielders at the major league level and the minor league level.
Right side, Colbrin going to be waved off by Veras. Or called off anyway, and the second baseman makes the catch. 2 outs.
I'll tell you, Devon White looks extremely smooth in center field. I mean, he looks confident going after the ball. He gets a jump off the ball. His reputation precedes him, and he looks very much the genuine article in center field for the Marlins. And you talk about the young infielders, Renteria and Veras, and they talk about this Luis Castillo, who is at AA, and Dave Dombrowski telling us he just made the AA All-Star team, saying that he's perhaps a year or 2 away, that they schedule him to play at the AAA level next year. And once you're at the AAA level, you are 1 step away.
Well, there's a shot. Diving stop by Renteria. Gets up, throws. Look at that play. That ball was smoked, and Edgar Renteria cut off a sure base hit, turned it into an out. That's a sparkler.
Strength up the middle. Part of that strength. He flags it down. Double clutches, getting it out. Still has time to make the play.
Bottom of the 4th inning. Greg Colbrin leads off, and the first pitch fouled off from Denny Nagel. Colbrin grounded to third in the 1st inning. 3, 4, 5 hitters in the lineup. Colbrin, Sheffield, Conine. 1 ball and 1 strike. We're just talking about the strength of the Florida Marlins up the middle, and Edgar Renteria robbed Orlando Merced of a sure single. There's a base hit. Greg Colbrin extends his hitting streak, best in the National League this year, to 20 games.
And you look at strength up the middle. How about strength in the middle of the batting order for the Marlins when you look at Colbrin, Sheffield, and Conine, Pendleton in the hole with his experience? So the bottom of the 4th will be a test for Denny Nagel.
Sheffield singled in the 2nd inning. Let me just finish up again about the free agents. The Marlins had money. They spent it. Spending it wisely, bringing in a 7-time Gold Glover and Devon White to play center, and a spark at the top of the lineup, certainly. You've got Leiter we're seeing tonight, a free agent sign. We saw Kevin Brown, a free agent sign. He pitched a 5-hit shutout against the Bucks last night, so he's building through the minor league system, and he's also picking his spots, bringing in some quality players from the free agent route. See if the Bucks can get 2. Taylor made.
Yeah, easy. That one's easy. And the Bucks turn their second double play. And cleans things up very, very nicely. Tailor-made. You can see the apparatus that Gary Sheffield wears on the elbow. See, he's been hit there. This time, the 1-2 hopper to Jay Bell. Once he gets the glove around it, no problem whatsoever. 2 quick outs.
So 2 outs, and Jeff Conine at the plate. He walked his first time up. Another look at the easy double play. Sheffield has been criticized much of this season by Marlins fans, members of the media, about not running out ground balls. Saw the other night on ESPN, Dave Campbell really took him to task, saying, hey, you make $5 or $6 million a year. It's not too tough to run out a ground ball off the first baseline. But Sheffield, he is an imposing threat at the plate every time he comes up, that's for sure. Right side, and this is going out of play.
You know, I want to make a point, too. The Marlins spending this money on frontline pitchers like Al Leiter and Kevin Brown. So far, it's working out, but it's not a sure thing. Case in point, the Colorado Rockies took a shot on Brett Saberhagen, Billy Swift, Bruce Hurst. Those situations have not worked out, so it's not a lock. It's not a given just because you write the big checks that it's going to work out. It's working for the Marlins. Has not been working out the big checks that the Colorado Rockies have written. But on their behalf, they can still afford to probably write a few more to take a shot. And I wouldn't be surprised if and when they are in contention late this year that they go out and maybe do another high-profile frontline pitcher signing. Could be the king of rent-a pitchers, David Cohn. You never know where he's going to wind up in September. He's got more suitcases than an airline pilot would have. Every team you play for, you get a suitcase. He's got a bunch of them.
3-2 the count to Conine. Bottom of the 4th, 0-0 game. Charlie Hayes, nice backhand play, a 360 spin, and throwing on to Jeff King to get Conine. Oh, we've seen some nice defensive work tonight. 0-0 through 4. Charlie Hayes leads off.
Yep, one of the reasons there's no score in the ball game, a shot. Up, down, turn around, easy pickings for Charlie Hayes after that. Great play.
Takes ball 1 from Leiter. Strike on the outside corner to Hayes, 1-1. Hayes struck out looking in the second inning.
Talk about the control of Al Leiter. He had a ball game. He thought it was tough against the Pirates when he walked 7. He was pitching against the Cincinnati Reds, walked 9, still gave up just 2 runs.
Gilvio Veras throws out Hayes.
Leiter around the plate has only given the 1 walk, and that was to John Wayne in the first. Other than that, a bunch of strikes. That's another reason we're scoreless.
We can look at this date in baseball history now. Brought to you by Dodge. See your friendly Dodge dealer near you. Is on this date 2 years ago. Ken Griffey Jr. sets the major league record for most homers by the end of June. Number 31 in a 12-3 win at Anaheim on this date.
31 home runs at the end of June. That was the strike year. Major League Baseball shut down August 11th. A lot of big-time offensive numbers were getting set up for a stretch run. They went by the boards, unfortunately. And baseball still needs to work to get its house in order in terms of a labor agreement between the players and the owners.
Apparently there have been several meetings, though, the past couple of weeks, so well, maybe a reason for optimism, but we've heard that before.
They need to get it done. Simple as that.
1-2, 1 out. Two balls and 2 strikes to Jay Bell.
can hear the exertion from Al Leiter every once in a while as he tries to reach back and get a little extra.
Behind short, Renteria. Ball slowed down for him.
Yeah, and one of the reasons it slowed down, that ball had a lot of English on it, so he had to position himself to be able to make an adjustment if that ball spun off either direction. He got himself where he thought the ball was going to be. That's where it was, and he made the play.
Just 20 years old. Mike Kingery, a base hit to left field in the third and was caught stealing.
All pitching so far, no score. We're in the fifth. Bucks have a couple hits. The Marlins have 3. No runs in this ball game.
So the Bucks have been shut out now for 18 straight innings. Going back to that Wednesday game against the Mets, the second game of that doubleheader. To Kingery.
That noise you're hearing is the exertion of Al Leiter. He lets go of the ball, and the grunt of exertion. You won't hear it on the breaking ball. Mostly it's a fastball thing.
To the box. Al Leiter. A 1-2-3 inning. And he has now set down 8 Bucks in a row. At the halfway mark, nothing on Prime Sports. What happened between innings, Steve? Billy the Marlin taking on some Buccaneers.
Yeah, there's a damsel in distress. There's a pirate parrot on that guy's shoulder there.
Oh, yeah. I see that now. So it's the Marlin against the parrot.
I don't like the parrot's chances in this one.
No.
Plus the parrot's on the road.
Just foul, Terry Pendleton. Here's what happens. Just picking up this duel. The Buccaneer. And Billy the Marlin. Well, watch what happens. The Buccaneer gets rid of the sword. And look. Oh, we'll see it after this pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Saturday cartoons.
That's right.
Saturday night cartoons.
Quite a show here, Joe Robbie. 1-1 the count to Pendleton. It was retired on a nice play by Orlando Merced. He hit a sinking liner to right field in the second inning. Foul tipped. 2-2. Terry Pendleton, Charles Johnson, Edgar Renteria against Nagel. See, he waits. You see Nagel's eyes. He'll wait until the batter gets into the box. Then he'll quickly look up, get the signs, and deliver. Liner and Charlie Hayes, the quick reaction, and he is Johnny on the spot.
Nice reactions back to the mighty Marlins players.
Billy the Marlin.
Oh, there it is.
Can we see her? Steve, can you break this down for us? Look, he's got the bandana on too. See, as Charles Johnson steps to the plate, he bounced into a 5-4-3 double play in the second.
No, as a matter of fact, I can't break it down.
I thought you could explain to us exactly what happened there.
Well, there was a damsel in distress. Right. She was being...
Okay, now see.
Well,
is that fair?
No, it's not fair. It's a trick play. It's like the hidden ball trick. The hidden sword trick.
0-2 to Charles Johnson. Good pitching matchup here. Nagel and Leiter. Each looking to win his ninth. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the catcher of the Marlins.
One indication that the Pirates or the pitchers are starting to assert themselves somewhat around the major league scene. Swing and a miss on the off-speed pitch, out away, and that for Denny Nagel, just his second strikeout. The fact that the Detroit Tigers have gotten back-to-back shutouts, that'll tell you that the pitchers are starting to come around. Here's the strikeout of Charles Johnson out in front of the changeup, the fading changeup. Not only a change in speeds, but a change in locations. There's a Detroit shutout. That was today. Yesterday, they also had a shutout. Talk about a maligned pitching staff. You think the Bucks catch a little heat with their pitching problems at times? But the Detroit Tigers, who much of the season have had a team ERA right around 7. 7, that is. 7.
0-2 to Renteria.
I guess the only other good news for Detroit is most of the other American League teams have an ERA of around 4 or 5, so they're in most of the ball games, although it has been a tough time for the Detroit Tigers this year. I think just their 19th or 20th win.
Yep, 20th win today. Still 0-2 to Renteria. Nagel trying to make it a quick 1-2-3 inning.
And let Al Leiter lead off next inning, perhaps.
Still 0-2 to the shortstop of the Marlins. Bucks will take on Florida again tomorrow afternoon, a 4:35 start. We'll have just the radio side for you. Mark Wilkins against Pat Rapp. Monday afternoon, the Bucks will be in Montreal for the first of 3 against the Expos. That'll also be a radio-only game at 5:35. We'll join you again on Prime Tuesday and Wednesday nights on the TV side. That's fouled off again.
Throwing a lot of strikes to Renteria. By the way, another thing about Denny Nagel, and I've heard this from Steve Cook last night. Steve Cook and Denny Nagel are good friends, and Cookie's saying that Nagel called him at least once a week when he was struggling and trying to get things back together.
Little pop-up. Jeff King, long run, can't get there.
Good try by Jeff, just didn't have enough altitude in that pop foul. And getting back to Nagel and Cook, you have no idea how much that means when you are struggling and wondering if it's going to work out, if you'll ever be back in the big leagues, as you watch this attempt by Jeff King. So Steve Cook, he won't forget that kind of support from his buddy Denny Nagel, who is constantly touching base. And the most difficult of times for a professional athlete, when you're hurt and trying to come back.
Checks his swing at the ball in the dirt. They want to appeal. Don't get that. Yeah, a lot of time a player will go down back to the minor leagues, and 90% of the time you don't hear from anybody at the big league level, just because they're, you're doing other things and you think you're forgotten. But that's big league, as they call it, by Denny Nagel, to stay in touch with a good buddy on a regular basis. 2-2.
Steve Cook threw some good breaking balls to Gary Sheffield, and his work against the heart of the Marlins batting order last night. Wound up with a scoreless inning. All the way to full now, as Denny Nagel was out in front 0-2, threw a lot of strikes even with the 0-2 count. Now it's become a full count. So Edgar Renteria forcing Denny to throw a whole bunch of pitches in the bottom of the 5th.
Caught him looking on a 3-2 offering. That is big, because now Leiter will lead off after all that.
The payoff pitch. It's a payoff for Denny Nagel. A fastball on the outside corner. Strike 3. Still scoreless at the end of 5. Scoreless at the end of 5. Lanny Fratteri will take you the rest of the way. And so far, a whole lot of pitching going on.
Is this the true definition of split screen? Is that what this is?
Yeah, post no bills. This is.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Popcorn, Steve?
Hailstorm, I guess, from over on the radio side.
Well, we've got a good one going tonight. Pretty much what we expected. Yes. Leiter against Nagel.
Yeah, a couple of real quality left-handers. Al Leiter doing it with the hard stuff most of the evening. Denny Nagel with his usual assortment of some off-speed stuff set up with the fastball. But real good pitching displayed both ways. Scoreless at the end of 5.
All right, let's go to the top of the 6th inning. And Jason Kendall, the batter. You know, I heard a little buzzing in the clubhouse last night about some people thinking that Kevin Brown threw at Jason Kendall last night.
Well, I said over on the radio side, I was wondering a little bit about what might transpire in the next inning, perhaps. I was speculating because you never know. I mean, unless you're down there, you're really never sure. But I had that feeling up in the booth, too. I thought, well, that kind of stuff goes in the file, so you never know. Somewhere down the road, may get the account squared away.
There really was no chance to come back at Kevin because he was batting with a man on in the second, came up with a runner on base in the fifth inning, also in the seventh. Would take nothing away from the job that Kevin Brown did. He was a dominant pitcher last night. Jim Leland saying that the Leiter Brown combination could be the best lefty-righty in the league. And I said, well, wait a minute, what about Glab and Maddox? But Jim didn't back down off that statement at all.
Different styles because these guys are power pitchers. Kevin Brown was throwing about 94 miles an hour, and the ball was jumping all over the place. In fact, Jeff King made the same comment. I said, was that the best stuff you've seen all year? He said, yeah. He says, but you know, I wasn't having a real good night either. And he said, well, it's not going to be any easier tonight because Al Leiter is a left-handed Kevin Brown.
Leiter leads the league in walks issued, giving up 2 free passes tonight, 54 this year. Well, Denny Nagel dropped down a sacrifice bunt in the third. You realize Nagel's not had a base hit since April 24th when he singled off Pat Rapp of the Florida Marlins. Leiter tried to drop the ball to get a double play, but the home plate umpire, Terry Tata, rules that the batter is out on the popped bunt and Kendall safe at first. Leiter reacted too late. He should have had the opportunity to back off that play and let the ball drop, but instead he moved on to the ball. Yeah, he kind of tried to cradle it to the ground. Yeah. And that's not legal.
It's like a hockey player, I guess, going up and just kind of catching the puck. Not supposed to do that kind of stuff.
0-0, sixth inning. Carlos looking for his first hit of the series.
Certainly hit the ball well enough first time up, but right at Terry Pendleton.
Did you and Greg mention Charlie Feeney earlier? I understand Charlie underwent surgery and is doing well.
No, I didn't.
One-time baseball writer of the Post-Gazette. Charlie spends much of the offseason on the sun coast of Florida. What an outstanding gentleman. For many years dedicated to Pirate baseball and covering the Pirates. Pitch inside 1-2.
Charlie Feeney and his wife Bea were at the Sally O'Leary retirement party earlier this year.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Only one Pirate has reached second base against Al Leiter. That was Kendall in the third.
He came back down.
Good pitch from Leiter down and in. Garcia strikes out 2 away. The Pirates have not scored since the 4th inning of Wednesday's second game when Dave Clark hit a 3-run homer. The Bucks blanked by Brown last night, and so far tonight Al Leiter has worked 5 2/3 scoreless innings.
And when you throw a 91-mile-an-hour pitch down and into a right-hand batter and you're a left-hand pitcher, you're going to have a high degree of success. That ball is in a great spot to Carlos Garcia for the second out and the 4th strikeout of the game by Leiter.
John Wehner, when he first came up to the Pirates, had the unusual batting style, using his hands and positioning them at the outset of the swing at the midpoint of John's body. And you see now that slowly but surely he's moved the hands back towards his right shoulder.
Yeah, it just took too much time against Major League pitching to have the bat that far in front, go back, and then start the swing again. To go back and start forward, and a lot of these guys get the ball by you by the time you get it cranked up to go forward and try to hit the ball.
One on, two outs. John Wehner playing left field. Al Martin not in the lineup. Jim Leyland said on his radio show that there have been occasions this year when left-handed batters have been more successful against Leiter. Kingery's in the lineup, left-handed bat. Martin is not. Wehner, of course, hit his only major league home run off this left-hander in the third game of the season. Jason Kendall, after being hit by a pitch in the third inning last night, stole a base. But the Pirates' running game has been shut down so far tonight. Kingery thrown out in the third. Wehner caught stealing in the first. Did you do a lot of grunting and groaning when you were pitching?
I don't think so. Al Leiter's he's got pretty good volume tonight. Every once in a while, late in the ball game, when you're trying to reach back, get a little something extra, probably. But you're concentrating so much, he's probably very much unaware of the sounds that he's making.
Second baseman QV makes the play. Wehner's out. 20 consecutive innings in which the Pirates have been kept off the scoreboard. On Prime Sports, after 5.5 innings, the Pirates nothing, the Marlins. Al Leiter will lead off the bottom of the sixth inning, no score in the ball game. Pirate left-hander Jason Christensen has spent a couple of uncomfortable days. Jason saw a doctor in South Florida today and had fluid and blood drained out of one of his ears. The doctor had to put a hole in Jason's eardrum to drain it, and had they not completed the procedure today, Jason would not have been allowed to fly with us from Florida to Montreal. I guess it was a very difficult flight into Miami the other night. You can imagine with the cabin pressure. Three left-handers now in the Pirate bullpen: Christensen, Cook, and Plesac.
Kind of interesting, when the Marlins were in Pittsburgh, Chris Hammond had an inflamed ear inflammation. He was down, and he has since been placed on the disabled list.
What was Jason doing with his? Was he practicing his Albert Bell forearm shiver?
Yeah, I think, yeah, exactly.
I guess he anticipates meeting up with Fernando Vina soon.
Well, they're left-handers. Sometimes there's no explaining what they do and why they do it.
Do you think left-handers are all that different mentally?
Yeah.
Are they really?
Yeah. Yeah. There's some kind of, well, it could be an inner ear imbalance. That could have been the start of the whole thing.
Other kind people, they share.
Cook with an ear problem there.
Something bugging him. Oh boy, the games people play.
That's the sunflower flick.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Al Leiter has 33 official at-bats this year and has struck out 24 times. Hey, how about Richard, our camera person, up here at the broadcast booth wearing his Prime Sports Pirate t-shirt? And doesn't he look resplendent? Well, I don't know what resplendent means, but he must look that way. Turn around, Richard.
Yeah.
Look at that. Prime Sports, KBL.
How come we don't have one of those t-shirts? All right.
Swing and a miss. The rather attractive young lady standing up and back there is what's the term for Kim? She's an A2 audio A2. Is that right? There's Kim. You want to comment about my relationship with Kim?
No, I think that's better left to you.
Left unsaid, probably.
I think you need to cover that.
Swing and a miss by Devon White, who doubled in the third. 3 hits for the Marlins. The Pirates have 2. You know, that ball hit the advertising sign behind home plate. That's not been as big a deal as I thought it was going to be. When I heard that that was becoming a tradition in the game, I thought it was going to be extremely distracting. And now that we've gotten into it a little bit, I don't find it to be a big deal at all. What about you?
No, I haven't given it too much thought. The only thing I've thought about is the seats coming out, more of a chance for a bounce to come back to a catcher and make it a difficult play at home plate, but we haven't seen that very much either. As long as they don't change it in the middle of a windup, that would be a little bit of a problem.
Jeff King backs up on the ground ball, but Nagel's over to accept the throw. 2 outs in the 6th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ground ball outs for Nagel.
You know what I thought would be extremely distracting? When we go to Montreal, and we'll try to show it to you, it's kind of a plexiglass background right in back of the catcher, and from what I see, there's a lot of reflection. There's a lot of glare off it, but I've talked to some pitchers, and apparently you get so locked in with your concentration, you really don't notice that. I thought that would be a real problem when I first saw it in Montreal, more so than the advertising.
Kilvio Veras takes the first pitch, and it's ball 1. No score in the game. Nagel against Leiter.
That's the good change up on the outside corner. Denny's been locked into that location with the off-speed pitch several times tonight. Several times we've talked about the lack of support for Al Leiter, and it is continuing tonight. He's not gotten anything to work with, and that's been kind of an ongoing theme. This guy could have a lot more than 8 wins.
Ground ball outside third, 1 and 2. Want to send along best wishes to Anna and Harold Phillips on Holly Drive out in McDonald, Pennsylvania. Thank them for their kind notes. Well, it's a great community, McDonald, PA. We very often cut through McDonald as we're going to Quicksilver. 1-2 pitch. Jeff King will take it himself. 6 innings. 6 exciting chapters of Pirates Marlins baseball. Nothing doing yet on Prime Sport. Top of the 7th inning, Jeff King, Orlando Merced, and Charlie Hayes against Al Leiter. Only 2 Pirate hits. Kingery and Kendall single in the 3rd inning. Fastball high, ball 1. Houston at Los Angeles later on. The Astros have a game lead over the Cardinals in the National League Central. The Pirates 3.5 out. Base hit left field. Extra bases for King as the ball rolls into the corner. That's a great start for the Pirates in this 7th inning.
And it sets up a pretty good matchup with left-handed batting Orlando Merced against the lefty Al Leiter. Here's the base hit by Jeff King. Gets the big head of the bat out. Drives the ball down into the left field corner. And by the time Conine gets to it, the Pirates have a runner in scoring position. And that's been kind of a strange neighborhood tonight for both teams.
Orlando 0 for 2.
Boy, he smoked a ball that looked like it was going to be a base hit up the middle that Renteria made a great play on.
Ball 1.
Well, you get to this point in this kind of ball game, 1 run could look very, very large.
Shot to right field and a foul ball. Orlando would at least like to hit the ball to the right side to push King to third. St. Louis in front of Montreal 4-0 in the 5th inning. John Mabry and Ray Langford have homered for the Cardinals. Mets 2, Reds nothing in the 6th inning. Pete Shurik coming off the disabled list to pitch for Cincinnati. I see Jeff King trying to rather secretively signal to Gene Lamont. One and one, the count on Merced. No outs, runner at second base.
You were mentioning Greg Maddux earlier. Looks like he's getting it done against the Giants at this point. The Braves leading that game 4-0 in the 6th.
Chipper Jones is at a home run for Atlanta. 2 balls and a strike. And now 3-1. Jeff King, as he stands near second base, looks back to see where the shortstop Renteria is positioned and where Silvio Veras is. Veras is way over. He's not a factor. But Renteria is trying to move in as close as he can to keep King close to second base. Time called, and Johnson goes out to the mound to talk to Leiter. Final score from Philadelphia. Here's a good story for our friends in Altoona, Pennsylvania. The Phillies beat the Rockies 5-4. The winner was Ron Blazier. Blazier from Altoona, PA, and now lives in Bellwood. Blazier pitched the 7th inning after Terry Mulholland worked the first 6. Congratulations to Ron. Ricky Batalico picked up the save. Well, we've seen a lot of pirate hats and pirate shirts in this ballpark the first 2 games of this series.
Well, there's a fan that's pretty serious about this ball game. Got that stare going, hoping the Pirates can score, perhaps.
Foul ball, 3-2. In the Pirate bullpen, Dan Maselli starts warming up. No score in the game, 7th inning.
Thought this was going to be a pretty good matchup between Leiter and Merced, and it has become that.
Fly ball to right center. King is halfway as Veras makes the catch, and Jeffrey quickly scoots back to second. Ball hit not hit deep enough for Jeff to think about tagging up. Boy, that could hurt. The Pirates unable to push Jeff over to third.
Al Leiter wins that battle against Merced. And now we'll go against Charlie Hayes. Leiter has done a good job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. He's only given up 7 home runs. When he has struggled, many times it has been with control.
One of those 7 home runs hit by John Wayner. Fastball outside, ball 1. Charlie, when he's most effective, will try to drive the ball the opposite way. The pitch was in, and Hayes turns on it. A fly ball to left and a foul ball.
I don't know whether Charlie broke his bat on that swing or not. He's heading back toward the Pirate dugout.
See these pitches in from Leiter on right-handed batters. That's the report Jim Leland gave us during the radio show tonight. A cut fastball that just keeps running in and in on the right-handers. Jeff King was able to do a good job of getting his right hand, or his hands, in towards the body and pulled a Leiter pitch into left field corner for a double. Charlie Hayes breaks his bat, trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, and that's a good adjustment by Jeff King, because in the first inning, Jeff King struck out on one of those running sliders up and in. cut fastballs. It's the old true definition of a slider, cut fastball.
Two balls, one strike, no score, seventh inning. Three and one.
Close pitch, but Charlie takes it, gets the call.
Jay Bell on deck. Leiter was 3-1 on Merced. Orlando popped to the second baseman Veras in shallow right center field on a 3-2 pitch. Jeff King, the runner at second base, 1 out. Strike 3 and 2.
Well, I tell you, he's throwing a couple fastballs that, well, you can get the call half the time, and the other half you don't get it, and that's exactly what has happened. He didn't get the first one. Comes right back in the same neighborhood, gets the strike call to take the count full.
Pitch away, and it was, according to Charlie, or in Charlie's mind, close enough to the strike zone that he thought he better swing at it and look for something better.
Yep. You don't want to take a call third strike when you get a runner in scoring position on a night where that's not happening very often.
Pitch in, and boy, did Charlie fight that pitch off.
That's one of those swings you were talking about last night. When the body goes around, the bat just happens to follow. You somehow make contact. The ball is chasing Charlie all around the place.
Leadoff double by King. 1 out. Good at bat for Hayes, forcing Leiter to throw quite a few pitches.
And grunt on that fastball as he tried to reach back and get a little something extra. It is the 7th inning. Leiter has thrown a lot of pitches. And this is the point of the ball game where if you're going to reach back to try to get something, it might take a full effort, including that grunt at the release time.
Denny Nagel has blanked the Marlins through 6 innings. While Leiter works the top of the 7th. Strike 3, 2 outs.
And Leiter working that outside corner. And he gets the call from Terry Tata. Another look.
Hayes takes a seat in the dugout. That'll bring up Jay Bell. Larry Rothschild going out to the mound to have a word with the left-hander Al Leiter. Jay Bell spent a decent amount of time today looking at videotape. I was asking Jay what it is that he's looking for, and Jay went back and saw the videotape of his at-bats from last night against Kevin Brown, and Jay was telling me the 2 bullet points for him are, 1, that he keeps his hands up, and number 2, Jay has a tendency to collapse his right side too soon. So he was wanting to make sure that he was not doing that. Jay saying that he believes hitting is more confidence than mechanics. When you're struggling, it's important to go to the videotape to make sure the mechanics are okay. Well, Jay so far tonight, 0 for 2. I asked Jay about his approach against Al Leiter, and he said, I'm more concerned about the catcher. Jay saying that he knows what he's going to get from Leiter, knows what the pitch selections are going to be, but the tendencies are going to come from the catcher, something Willie Stargell used to talk about. And Jay just does get out of the way of the pitch 2-0. Jay's plan of attack, he's He's looking for a fastball to hit. Now they decide to intentionally walk Bell because the count is 2-0. The left-handed batter Kingery on deck. The only available right-handed bats on the bench are catcher Keith Osick and the switch hitter Nelson Liriano.
Well, I tell you, I'm not sure I agree with that philosophy, tendencies of a catcher. If I'm out there pitching, I want the pitches and the pitch selection to be the tendencies of the pitcher. So I guess everybody has different ideas. But I look at Al Leiter, he is a veteran. If I'm Al Leiter, I'm going to have my tendencies. I'm probably not going to rely on the tendencies so much of a Charles Johnson. Al Leiter's been around longer. But I've heard that theory advanced. People believe in it.
Mike Kingery takes ball 1. Well, I think too what Jay is saying is that when they sit down, most clubs in the meeting, it's the catcher sitting down with the manager and the pitching coach. And so there's where the scouting report comes into play, and it's the catcher's responsibility to execute that scouting report. Fly ball to left field, and Conine just inside the stripe makes the catch. The Pirates waste a leadoff double. No score in the game, and it's time for the 7th inning stretch on Prime Sports, brought to you by Ladbroke. Racing's only half the fun. Oh, what a team.
How about that?
What a team.
How about that?
Bottom of the 7th inning. Rich, did you knock over my papers? All right, the Pirates missed that opportunity with Jeff King getting the leadoff double in the top of the inning. Boy, now the heart of the Marlins batting order for Denny Nagel, including Greg Colburn, Gary Sheffield, and Jeff Conine.
Denny Nagel handled it very, very nicely in the bottom of the 4th after a single, a double play, and a sparkling defensive play by Charlie Hayes.
Colburn's second hit of the game. He extended his hitting streak to 20 games with a base hit in the 4th.
And if the Pirate bullpen was busy before, I would think they'd be activated once again. Bottom of the 7th, no score. And Finn Williams receives a phone call. It gets him moving around. It was Maselli before. It is Jason Christensen. It looks like he is going to get it going, and right now he is the only person throwing.
Sheffield takes ball 1. Gary Sheffield singled in the 2nd, hit into a double play in the 4th. Now, this is the one guy that you do not want to have beat you, and yet, looking at the career numbers, Conine, who's on deck, has been quite successful against Nagel. Roller outside 3rd.
Well, Gary Sheffield is so aggressive. As you take a look at Jeff Conine in the on-deck circle, Sheffield is so aggressive that, without exaggerating this point, he kind of plays into the hands a little bit of a guy like a Denny Nagel, who's going to show him off-speed stuff and maybe have Gary out in front a percentage of the time. It doesn't mean he can't burn you. He's got such a quick bat, he can wait a little bit longer, but he's vulnerable to the off-speed stuff.
Jason Kendall last night wearing tape on his fingers so that Danny Darwin could see the signs better. Two balls, one strike. And right-hander Dan Maselli has joined Jason Christensen in the bullpen.
Boy, Denny Nagel looking right down the barrel right now. After a leadoff single, he's falling behind the power hitter, Gary Sheffield.
Fly ball to left center. Mike Kingery makes the catch, and Colburn goes back to first.
And that's some real good pitching, because a lot of pitchers, even big league pitchers, will give in, if you will, and throw a fastball just to try to throw a strike in a 2-0 count. And that plays right into the hands of a guy like Sheffield. I don't believe that pitch was a fastball that Denny Nagel threw, even though he was behind in the count, had enough confidence in something other than the fastball, so he did not have to give in, and he gets the pop fly to center field. That's big-time pitching right there.
Scoreless game, bottom of the 7th. 1 on, 1 out. Cona's foul ball pushed off to the right. Now the Marlins, 11.5 games back of Atlanta in the National League East. And Atlanta tonight leading San Francisco 4-0 in the 7th inning with Greg Maddux pitching. The Marlins 8 games back of Montreal. Right now the Expos are the wild card leader. Ground ball, shortstop Jay Bell with the throw to Garcia at second for 1 on to first. Double play. Jeff Conine hits into a double play. 3 ground ball double plays turned behind Nagel tonight, and 13 this season. We've written 7 chapters of tonight's narrative, and the score is the Pirate. Top of the 8th inning, and Ralph Massey of McKees Rocks is the 3rd Giant Eagle contestant on our Prime Sports telecast. Jason Kendall leads off. Kendall singled in the 3rd, walked in the 6th inning. Pirates and Marlins tomorrow. No Pirate television. Will have the play-by-play for you on the radio network. The Cam Bonifay show tomorrow at 3:35, and then Pirate baseball today at 4:10. Mark Wilkins against Pat Rapp.
That Leiter right on the outside corner with a couple pitches.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Let me also tell you about our upcoming telecast during this road trip. We'll televise on Prime Sports Tuesday and Wednesday from Montreal. Next Friday night from St. Louis. And then the final game of the road trip from St. Louis a week from tomorrow will be on WPXI Channel 11. Kendall strikes out a good high fastball from Leiter. Let's see what the scoreboard's got at 92 miles per hour.
As he goes over 100 pitches in his efforts tonight, that's not an extraordinarily high number. Upstairs, after a couple of fastballs on the outside corner. That will be it for Denny Nagel as Nelson Liriano will hit. Hey, Dennis Galloway downstairs. Can we take another look at that line score? I mean, to me, this is a beautiful thing in a Major League ball game. As you take a look at the scoreboard, line score with all zeros. Get a shot of that. And we will show you that momentarily.
Liriano pinch hitting for Nagel.
Another good fastball, so he has not lost much. There it is. You don't see that all that often. Lots of zeros. To me, is high-quality baseball. Obviously, terrific pitching, but that pitching also has to be backed up with some strong defense.
Nagel worked 7 scoreless innings. Lifted for the pinch hitter Liriano. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out.
Denny Nagel can win it. He cannot lose it. Good work off the bench for Nelson Liriano.
And there's the 8th pinch hit single for Nelson.
That almost had that sound like it might have been a broken bat. He got the ball into left field.
Liriano, who talked about giving up swinging from the right side earlier this year, but we have seen Liriano hit right-handed against some lefties and successful in this pinch hit appearance of the 8th inning. 1 on, 1 out, top of the order for Carlos Garcia.
Seems like I remember when we were here in Florida to start the season, Nelson Liriano was on first base, and there was a pickoff throw over that Greg Colburn kind of blocked him out or came down on Nelson's leg and prevented him from getting back into first base. Nelson wasn't too happy about that particular set of circumstances.
That was in the 8th inning of the 2nd game on the pickoff play of John Burkett.
Jay Powell, Yorkis Perez, righty-lefty, and the Marlins bullpen.
Oh, 0-2. Carlos 0 for 7 in the series. Right fielder Sheffield has plenty of room to make the catch. Liriano was tagging up, but Nelson, after going a third of the way to second, stops and comes back to first.
Let's see if John Wehner has some of that magic that he showed against Al Leiter. First time the Bucks were in town here in Joe Robbie Stadium.
Leiter 2-0 against Pittsburgh this year. Wehner takes ball 1. 1 on, 2 outs. Top of the 8th. Again, we'll tell you the Pirates have not scored a run since Dave Clark's 3-run homer in the 4th inning, second game of the doubleheader Wednesday.
And that's all they scored in that game. Mets came back.
So Jim Leyland's ball club has gone just over 21 consecutive innings without scoring a run. Three balls, no strikes. Nothing game, 8th inning. And Wehner walked on 4 pitches in the 1st inning, draws the free pass on 4 in the 8th.
And we told you when Al Leiter struggles many times it is with control. Pirates once again with a runner in scoring position, and once again Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, will come out and talk with his starter. Charles Johnson will join the conversation, as will Terry Pendleton.
Earlier in the day, the New York Yankees beat Cleveland 11-9. The Yankees had swept a doubleheader yesterday at Jacobs Field. Ruben Sierra hit 2 home runs. Baltimore beat Kansas City 5-3. The Orioles scoring 5 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Rafael Palmeiro, Bobby Bonilla, and Mark Smith homered in the 9th. Seattle beat the White Sox 4-2, and Chicago's lost 8 in a row. Bob Wells the winner. Norm Charlton is saved. Detroit 6, Minnesota 0. Brian Williams pitching a 4-hit shutout. Back-to-back shutouts authored by the Tiger pitching staff. It was Felipe Lira yesterday. And Oakland beat Toronto 8-4. California leads Milwaukee 3-0 in the 3rd. Boston 2, Texas 0 in the 3rd. Tim Wakefield scheduled tonight for the Red Sox. Rothschild back in the dugout. 2 Pirates on base. And Jeff King steps in 1 for 3. Jeff doubled in the 7th. Leiter going outside. The ball is popped down the line. And Colburn cannot make the play. King's going to get another chance. Strike 1.
Would have been an above-average play. He went a long way. Ball starts sliding back toward fair territory, and Colburn was there, but can't get the glove around it. So we'll see how important that is.
Not surprising that Leiter started with a pitch away, because we've seen Leiter working inside. A pitch up and in struck out Jeffrey in the first inning, and King was able to handle an inside pitch for a double last inning. Now where do they go?
We'll watch Charles Johnson. He'll let you know.
Pitch was in. Popped into shallow left field. Renteria, the shortstop, makes the play. Ralph Massey of McKees Rocks, our Giant Eagle contestant, receives 2 tickets to an upcoming Pirate home game. Through 7.5 from Joe Robbie Stadium. The Pirates nothing, the Marlins nothing. Denny Nagel pitched 7 scoreless innings, allowing only 4 hits. And after being lifted for the pinch hitter, Dan Plesac comes into the game as the second Pirate pitcher, ready to face the bottom 4 spots of the Marlins order. Pendleton, Johnson, Renteria, and then the pitcher Leiter would be due up 4th.
For Dan Plesac, 2 wins and a loss, and also 3 saves. Take a look at his numbers.
Ground ball hit by Pendleton. Bill and King get together, 1 away. Dan Plesac with one of his wins over the Florida Marlins. It was Plesac who picked up the victory a week ago yesterday in what was probably the best game of the year. The Pirates coming from behind and winning 5-4 when Jeff King singled 2 runs into the 9th inning. Charles Johnson, a Gold Glove catcher last year, but he does not figure to be the all-star catcher or one of the all-star receivers this year. Ball popped and caught, 2 outs. Figure that Mike Piazza is going to be the top vote getter in the balloting of the fans, and that Todd Hundley will be on the all-star team. Hundley with 20 home runs. Bottom of the 8th inning, no score. Each team has 4 hits. Renteria 0 for 2.
The only error in the ball game, a throwing error charged to Denny Nagel.
Looked like it might be costly, too, because it allowed Sheffield to go to 3rd. And the Marlins had runners at 1st and 3rd with 1 out in the 2nd, but Charles Johnson hit into a double play. And Rob Nen is getting it ready in the Marlins bullpen. Two hopper to Garcia. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Dan Plesac. Through 8 on Prime Sports. The Pirates nothing, the Marlins nothing. Even though the Marlins pitcher's spot is due to lead off the bottom of the 9th inning, there's only one change for Florida as we go to the top of the 9th, and it's Rob Nen, the pitcher. Nen inserted into that number 9 position.
There's Rob Nen, who is a victim, by the way, of that base hit that Jeff King collected to drive in the tying and winning run last Friday night. Al Leiter, 8 scoreless innings, 4 hits. He walked 4, struck out 6. The numbers for Rob Nen. A little bit of a peculiarity, and I don't think it's anything significant. You just notice different things about pitchers, but when he works from the stretch, you see him almost scrape that front leg, that front foot, that lead foot. Watch him as he comes through. He'll put it down and then kind of turns and kind of slides down to where he's going to work that the body around that pivot leg. Lift, scrape, and falls right behind Orlando Merced. Lifts the foot, the slide, and then almost a couple of different sections in that particular delivery. 2 parts.
The 2-0 pitch hit the second baseman, Veras. Then with 3 saves against the Pirates this year.
And one of those losses, as we were talking about last Friday evening.
Well, let me see if I can find the other one. The other one was here in Joe Robbie, June 11th of '95, when Nelson Liriano had the game-winning double in the 9th inning, and then lost to Dan Maselli. Charlie, you can see from those numbers, doing nada against Nen. The Marlins bullpen worked quite a bit in San Francisco Tuesday and Wednesday nights. A stylish backhanded play by Renteria. 2 outs. 9th inning, no score in the game.
The youngster, this ball really hit pretty sharply. Pick and gather used to be the old expression. The soft hands, pick it up and cross to first.
In this ball game, there's been only 1 base runner reach third base. Sheffield in the 2nd inning. One ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, no one on. Pendleton guarding the line at third. And over on the right side, Coburn is in the normal first baseman's position. The bottom of the 9th inning for the Marlins, pitcher Nen due to lead off, then Devon White, followed by Kilvio Veras.
Rene Latchman does not like to use Rob Nen more than an inning. And Maselli, who has been loosening up throughout much of the latter part of this ball game.
Jay Bell is out, number 3. And we have to hope for extra innings tonight. Here's that strikeout pitch that closes down the top of the 9th inning.
A good slider, and we'll go to the bottom of the 9th. No score right here on USDA Prime.
Alex Arias pinch hitting for Rob Nen. And the ball is fouled past the Pirate dugout. No score. Each team has 4 hits. 2nd inning for Dan Plesac. After Arias, we'll see the switch hitters White and Veras. And both Devon White and Kilvio Veras have better batting averages this year right-handed. One ball, 2 strikes. So Rob Nen is asked to pitch just 1 inning at the top of the 9th, and the stopper out of the Marlins bullpen set the Buccos down 1-2-3. Pirates had a couple of men on base in the 3rd, though not simultaneously, because Kingery had singled to start the 3rd, was caught stealing, and Kendall followed with a base hit. Leadoff double by King in the 7th, and the Pirates did not score. Merced unable to move King to 3rd. Hayes had gone down on strikes that inning. Bell intentionally walked Kingery, flied out, strike 3, 1 out.
Well, nice pitch by Dan Plesac. The fastball on the outside corner. And put a lid on that at bat. Perfecta.
Plesac, who had experienced some control trouble, not in his last outing, but the start before the outing before that. Here's Devon White. Takes ball one. In the game Monday against New York, Plesac walked a couple of batters. Also, one hunter reached base, or one batter reached base on a strikeout wild pitch. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike. On Devon White, 9th inning, bottom of the 9th, no score. When I asked Dan about it the other day, asked him why he was having so much trouble or unusual control trouble for him, he felt that because he had a couple days off, he felt too strong and was, well, in the at-bat against Lance Johnson Monday, he was overthrowing. Merced was playing deep, but Orlando is able to come on, and it's the second time in the game that Merced has gotten good jumps on balls. Did so on the Pendleton fly ball in the second, and makes the play on White's fly ball in the 9th.
Comes O.
Gilby Olveras, a much better batter right-handed than left. Though Olveras 0 for 3 tonight against Nagel. Strike on the outside corner. No score, 9th inning.
Dan Plesac is throwing the ball awfully well. He's retired 5 in a row, and it looks like he's moving the ball around in the strike zone where he wants to at this point.
Foul ball into the bullpen. And it's 0-2. Veras needs a new bat. The Marlins' best scoring opportunity was the second. They had Sheffield at third, Conine at first, 1 out. And Nagel was able to get Charles Johnson to bounce into an inning-ending double play. Well, we've seen great pitching the first 2 games of this series. Last night, a dominant performance turned in by Kevin Brown. Tonight, the starters, Nagel and Leiter. Nagel pitched 7 scoreless innings, Leiter 8.
Well, you talk about that play that Orlando Merced made on Terry Pendleton. That's the ball game. We might not still be playing.
Swing and a miss. Well, we are still playing. The Pirates horse trader, Dan Plesac, put together a couple of perfect innings. We're going to play extra innings tonight at Joe Robbie Stadium. No score through 9. Yorkis Perez leads, is the new pitcher, as Mike Kingery leads off the 10th inning. Pitches down low, ball 1.
Numbers for Perez, you'll notice he has worked 24 innings. He's struck out 26, but he's also walked 13, so control an issue at times.
A week ago Thursday, when the Marlins came from behind to beat the Pirates, Perez got the win. Kingery, Kendall, and Plesac, the scheduled batters.
Now it is Francisco Cordova who's starting to loosen up for the Pirates down the left field line in their bullpen.
0-0 game, 10th inning. Count goes full 3-2. There is the Cisco kid. the sense that things aren't as lonely for Francisco of late because Ramon Morel's now with the ball club and Elmer DeSenz.
Yep. That's got to help. Somebody he can spend some time with in the bullpen in their native language.
Renteria throws out Kingery.
And the Florida Marlins have not had too much traditional stuff going on. Day game after they left the Pittsburgh area against the San Francisco Giants. Some extra inning action out there. They come back on an off day, travel most of the day, and then have an hour and, 40-minute rain delay or thereabouts last night, and now extra innings. So too much traditional stuff in the last week for the Marlins.
Pirate catcher Jason Kendall takes a strike. Terry Matthews and Kurt Miller in the bullpen. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Perez, the third pitcher of the evening for the Marlins. Leiter, the 8 scoreless that Lanny mentioned. Then a 1-2-3 top of the 9th. So he works an inning, records a strikeout, and now it is Yorkis Perez.
Pitch from Yorkis is fouled out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 out, 10th inning.
Mind you, once again, that tomorrow's start is 4:35 in the afternoon, kind of an unusual starting time. The Bucks will head up to Montreal after that ball game.
And then an earlier start on Monday. Earlier in terms of what would be your normal nighttime get-together.
5:35 in Montreal.
Off day Thursday, and then 3 against the Cardinals at Busch. Next weekend, the Pirates home to host the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals the first 7 days of July. Great opportunity for you to see the Pirates. Of course, when we're in St. Louis, we'll have a chance to visit with the Wizard, and then the Wizard will come into Pittsburgh for a final time in early July.
And you'll get to spend one of your enjoyable Saturdays with day baseball.
Oh, yes. Two balls, 2 strikes. Here's the homestand coming up. Call the Pirates, 321 Bucks or 1-800-5 Giant Eagle Advantage card night the 1st. A spectacular Cons fireworks display following the game on the 3rd. And then the 4th of July games at 3:05. Come on out and enjoy Pirate baseball and enjoy a barbecue picnic. Fan Appreciation Night the 5th. Forbes Field Memories Night the 6th. Kids Magazine Day the 7th. Colburn goes down the line towards the Marlins bullpen, and the ball drifts out of play. 3-2 on Kendall.
Parent and Child Guidance Center Day on July the 8th, Monday.
That is right. Our 10th annual golf tournament to benefit the Parent and Child Guidance Center at St. Clair Country Club that Monday, July the 8th.
And then it's All-Star Game Day on Tuesday the 9th. One more day off to get squared away, and then Pirates off on the road again.
And Jason has a fine at bat, working the count to 3-2, fouling off a number of pitches and drawing the base on balls. No score, 10th inning. And Mark Johnson will be the pinch hitter for Dan Plesac. Jim Leyland going with a 12-man pitching staff. That means there's only 5 extra position players on the bench. Liriano was a pinch hitter in the 8th inning. Osick, the backup catcher, is available, along with the left-handed bats of Johnson, Clark, and Martin. One on, one out, 10th inning, no score.
Keep in mind, a good defensive outfield for the Marlins with Conine, White, and Sheffield. Fastball inside. Devon White is really outstanding. He's the captain. He's the main man out there. Covers a lot of ground. Great speed, good instincts. Conine better than average in left. And Gary Sheffield, a little bit better than people think in right field. That's not his forte. He'd rather spend time with the lumber, but it's pretty good outfield.
Kendall, the Pirate runner at first, runs well. And there's a lot of room in the gaps here at Joe Robbie Stadium. Mark Johnson in the hole, 0-2. Check swing, it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Johnson's 5 home runs, 2 have been pinch hit homers. One off Dave Beers of Montreal, and the pinch hit home run off the left-handed batter Pedro Martinez on Monday.
Outstanding numbers off the bench.
Fly ball, left center field, get down, and the ball does drop in for a base hit. Kendall stops at second. Mark Johnson with another pinch hit base hit.
Didn't get a lot of it, but got enough. Went downstairs and lifted the ball into short left center field. It drops in. The Bucks are in business, and a couple right-handers warming up as Carlos Garcia is announced, and here comes Rene Latchman. And he will make a change.
Yes, the assignment for Perez was to work to the bottom part of the Pirate batting order. And now the Jim Leyland has 3 right-handed hitters stacked at the top of the order. Garcia, Wainer, and King. A right-hander is coming on. And it is Terry Matthews. No score, top of the 10th inning, with the Pirates have 2 men on base, 1 out. We'll have more Pirates baseball on Prime Sports in a moment.
Terry Matthews comes on to work for the Marlins. This will be his 32nd appearance. He is 1-2 with a 3.67 ERA. See the rest of the numbers. So for Yorkis Perez, 1/3 of an inning, he gives up a hit, issues a walk, and these runners belong to him.
Final score in from Atlanta. The Braves beat the Giants 6-0. Greg Maddux pitched 8 scoreless innings, allowed only 2 hits. Wins his 7th of the year and reduces his earned run average to 2.99. Chipper Jones had 3 RBIs. Ryan Klesko 2. Atlanta 6, San Francisco nothing. The Braves have won 5 in a row. 2 on, 1 out, 10th inning. Carlos swings. The ball is popped, and it is playable. Charles Johnson has it 2 outs. Now see if Wainer's called back in favor of either Al Martin or Dave Clark.
Looks like we're going to see Dave Clark.
Well, Carlos Garcia now hitless in his last 14 at-bats. Two men on, 2 outs, 10th inning. Johnson quickly out to talk to Matthews, and with that, Larry Rothschild decides to join the conversation. Final score from New York. The Mets beat the Reds 5-2. Boy, disappointing last couple of days for Carlos, and hitless in this series. For New York, Mark Clark and John Franco combined to pitch a 4-hitter. That's Franco's 16th save of the year.
There's the Pirate base runners. Jason Kendall, Mark Johnson, and now the veteran Dave Clark.
Interesting with the Pirates number 12, John Wayner being listed in favor of the number 35 man of the Buccos, Dave Clark. Rainy day women, numbers 12 and 35. Well, we had a lot of rain last night, but no delay tonight. Playing in the 10th inning, no score. Fastball high, 2-0.
We have had no rain delay, but we have had a whole bunch of pitching.
Dave Clark's pinch hit home run was off Mark Wohlers. A couple of men on base and 2 outs, and the 2-0 pitch. Strike.
Matthews has given up 3 home runs in his first 31 appearances.
Ground ball off the glove of Colburn. That'll score a run. Kendall comes home, 1-0 Pirates. Mark Johnson stops at third. A ball hit sharply by Clark down the line. And the Pirates have posted the game's first run.
And that ball was just really clubbed at first baseman Greg Colburn and just ate him up. That has to be a base hit. The Pirates score first, and runners remain at first and third. Here comes Jason Kendall around. First player for either team to reach home plate. And there you have it. At this point, the Pirates with a 1-0 lead.
Gold at the lines, a run in King bunting, and the ball is pushed back over the screen. Strike one.
Terry Pendleton very deep at third base. If Jeff King gets the ball down, he's going to have a base hit.
And a pinch runner for Dave Clark. Al Martin will take over, and we'll see Al stay in the game to play left field. In the bottom of the 10th for Florida, Colburn, Sheffield, and Conine are due up, so the Pirates would serve themselves well to add to this lead. And the run belongs to Dan Plesac. One ball, one strike. Scoreless until the top of the 10th inning. Kendall drew a 1-out walk. Single by Mark Johnson. After 2 outs, Dave Clark with a shot up the first base line, an RBI single. One ball, 2 strikes.
Boy, if you'd ever love to think about some insurance, you'd love to think about it right now with the heart of the Marlins batting order scheduled to hit in the bottom of the 10th. To have each one of those guys come up not representing the tying run would be a plus.
Runners at first and third, 2 outs, a run in. Johnson sets up inside. King with a fly ball. Deep left field, it is gone. A home run for Jeff King. And the Pirates have a 4-0 lead in the 10th inning. It's Jeff King's 17th home run of the year.
Yeah, you want some insurance, you got it. Live from Miami, it is Saturday night. Jeff King with a rocket to left field. And that number looks a little nicer than 1-0, 4-zip. And it all started with the base on balls. Take a look. Matthews up and in, and Jeff King up and out. parking lot around Joe Robbie Stadium right now. Jeff King was struck out on a fastball up and in, or a cut slider, cut fastball by Leiter his first time up. Doubles and home run and homers later on in that neighborhood.
Not sure what that was all about. A couple of pumped up buccos, Al and Jeff, after the Jeff King home run. And what, pray tell, is that you have hanging from your mouth?
Well, the Panthers were a bunch of dirty rats to the Penguins. And we got a little turnabout, perhaps.
Brissett strikes out. 4 Pirate runs at the top of the 10th inning. Dave Clark with an RBI single. Jeff King hits a 3-run homer. At the end of 9 1/2, the Pirates 4, the Marlins nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff King has completed the cycle. Jeff has now homered in every ballpark in the National League, including home runs in Mile High and Coors. The last place for Jeffrey to hit a home run, Joe Robbie Stadium. And it's a 10th inning round tripper that puts the Pirates in front 4-0. Pirate changes as we go to the bottom of the 10th. Al Martin stays in the game to play left field. Mark Johnson stays in the game to play first base. And the new Pirate pitcher is Francisco Cordova, who will hit third. Colburn grounds out. 1 pitch, 1 out. Last night, Kevin Brown blanked the Pirates 4-0. So far tonight, Nagel, Plesac, and Cordova have shut out Florida.
These runs belong to Dan Plesac. Was he not the recipient of the offense by Jeff King a week ago Friday night?
He was.
Got the win as a result of that work.
Though officially, though it's not a, well, it's not an official stat anymore. The game-winning RBI belongs to Dave Clark. As David's hot smash up the first base line knocked home Jason Kendall with the first run. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sheffield 1 for 3. By the way, the Pirates scored 1 too many runs for Francisco to qualify for a save in this 10th inning, but
it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It's better than okay. Ball bobbled and thrown away. This really should be 2 errors on Francisco.
An error on the play and an error on the throw. And thank goodness for a 4 spot in the top of the 10th.
That's the end of the play. Francisco should have handled the batted ball cleanly. Well, Sheffield goes to second base as the ball goes down the line. 4-0. Bottom of the 10th inning.
Just a little tapper that just kept bouncing away, and then Francisco compounded the problem by throwing it down the right field line.
Conine 0 for 2. Foul ball to the screen, strike 1. Well, they've posted just 1 error on Cordova. One ball, 1 strike. 10th inning. Don't forget, friends, tomorrow, final game of the series. It'll be on the Pirates Radio Network. And we'll join you with the Cam Boniface Show at 3:35. Hosted by Greg Brown. And then the pregame show at 4:10. Sheffield remains at second as Conine is thrown out at first. The Pirates 4, the Marlins nothing. Bottom of the 10th. Two balls, no strikes. Houston's playing at Los Angeles later on. The Cardinals in front of Montreal 9-4 in the 9th inning. And the Cubs are at San Diego. The Pirates win and the Astros lose. The Bucks will be 2.5 games out of first place. Now 3-0.
Joe Orsulak, former Bucco, in the on-deck circle for the Marlins, if it gets that far.
Runner at second, 2 outs. 4-0 Pirates, 10th inning, strike. Hit to center field. Sheffield scores. It'll be an unearned run. The Marlins' first run of the game, and the Pirates' lead is 4-1. Yes, thank goodness for the insurance runs at the top of the inning. That'll bring up Joe Orsulak, pinch hitting for Charles Johnson.
Encouragement for Francisco Cordova. Going to activate the Pirate bullpen, just in case.
And Terry Pendleton's running. The Pirates ignore him.
Slider down and in.
Boy, nasty pitch.
Lenny, was it not the Carlos Garcia home run in the first series of the year that followed a very strong performance by Denny Nagel? I think he hit it after Denny had left the ball game. So he was the recipient of that long ball, and now Jeff King does it after Denny leaves in this one.
Ball popped. This should do it. Jay Bell is there to make the catch, and the Pirates win it in 10 innings, and there was no doubt about it. Dave Clark with an important pinch hit RBI single. Jeff King, it's a 3-run homer. Dan Plesac is the winner as Cordova works the 10th inning, giving up 1 unearned run. The Pirates defeat the Florida Marlins 4-1 in 10 innings. We'll have more coming up in a moment. We had a lot of fun tonight at Joe Robbie Stadium. The pitching matchup turned out to be as advertised. Al Leiter and Denny Nagel, 2 left-handers, 2 8-game winners, and they matched zeros until, well, Nagel pitched 7 scoreless innings, and Al Leiter worked 8 scoreless frames, and then all the scoring in the game came in the 10th inning. Let's start with the performance of Denny Nagel tonight, Steve.
Well, he was just outstanding, and from a purist standpoint, what a great ball game to watch. Denny Nagel never gave in. He buckled a little bit, but they turned 3 double plays behind him. Some outstanding defensive plays. Charlie Hayes turned in a couple sparklers. Orlando Merced made good work defensively behind Denny. So the Pirates never gave in, and the Marlins did not score. So just an A+ for Denny Nagel. Dan Plesac was outstanding coming in, retiring 6 in a row. And Francisco Cordova should have had a real clean bottom of the 10th. the Marlins wind up scoring an unearned run. But all in all, just an outstanding baseball game. The word that comes to mind for me, perseverance. The Pirates never gave into the ball game. They hung in there. They weren't scoring, but they found a way to find another aspect that would hold up, and actually found two aspects, the pitching and the defense.
All right, now let's show you the scoring highlights of the ball game. Scoreless until the top of the 10th inning. Jason Kendall had drawn a one-out base hit. Mark Johnson had a bloop single and a couple of Pirates on base. Then Carlos Garcia was retired for the second out of the top of the 10th inning. Jim Leyland set up Dave Clark as the pinch hitter for John Wehner, and it was a hot smash by Clark up the first base line. Coleman couldn't handle it, and as the ball kicked down the line, Jason Kendall scored the game's first run.
And Dave Clark simply overpowered Greg Colburn. I mean, that was a rocket down to first base and just kind of ate him up. No criticism of Colburn, just a tip of the cap to Dave Clark. But here's the real crusher. Jeff King just got all of that ball well up over the American League scoreboard, up into the blue seats, and that rocket shot gave the Pirates a 4-0 lead. All of a sudden, it was a bust out for the Bucks in the top of the 10th.
Jeff's 17th home run of the year. RBIs 53, 54, and 55, and the cycle has been completed. Jeff King has now homered in every ballpark in the National League. The Pirates in 10 beat the Florida Marlins 4-1. We'll have more on Prime Sports. Yes, get a grip of yourself, folks. We'll have more coming up in just a moment. Here are the totals in tonight's ball game. The Pirates 4 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors. The Marlins 1 run, 5 hits, no errors. Dan Plesac, the second of 3 Pirate pitchers, gets the win. And Dan has now won 3 games in his last 4 appearances. Yorkis Perez, the loser, 2-2. Jeff King hit his 17th home run of the year, a 3-run shot on the 10th. Dave Clark knocked in the game's first run with a 2-out pinch hit single. Jason Kendall was on base 3 times. So the Pirates, after losing Friday night 4-0, come back to beat the Marlins in 10 tonight, 4-1. Good pitching by Denny Nagel, and the winner, Dan Plesac, and the run that was scored off Francisco Cordova in the bottom of the 10th inning was unearned. And that wraps up our telecast tonight from Miami. The executive producer of Pirates baseball on Prime Sports is Gil Lucas. Tonight's game produced and directed by Dennis Galloway. Associate producer Mark Vidonic. The vice president of broadcasting for the Pittsburgh Pirates is Mark Driscoll. Coordinating producer Ann Donahue. Remote facilities provided by Unitel Mobile Video. Statistical information provided by Stats Incorporated and Interactive Sports Television. Our next telecast of Pirates baseball will be Tuesday from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Steve's pregame show at 7:25. But don't forget the Buccos and the Marlins play here at Joe Robbie Stadium on Sunday. And we'll have the action for you on the Pirates Radio Network. The Cam Bonifay show at 3:35. And Pirates baseball today, the pregame show at 4:10. Mark Wilkins against Pat Rapp tomorrow. Coming up next, it's Talkin' Bucks with Guy Junker and Ron Cook. The final score, the Pirates 4, the Marlins 1-10.